Welcome to Crocodile MTG. Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Jordan with Crocodile MTG, here bringing you another Magic the Gathering video. Today we are playing we are playing Blue-Black Death Shadow, and we are on the play, so we're going to start, I think we're going to start with our Delver of Secrets, but I want to cycle first. We found a Stubborn Denial. Maybe it's better the Thoughtseize since our opponent doesn't have... We don't know what our opponent's on, so I'm going to start with a Thoughtseize here. Alright, it looks like we're playing against a control deck. So I think we can either take this Infernal Tutor or one of the Ponder Preordain. I don't think we want to take the Lotus. I don't think it is that good. I guess I take the Infernal Tutor here. And we'll pass the turn back. It'd be nice, yeah, our opponent leads on this trop. I was going to say, it'd be nice if our opponent led on the Tropical Island, because we can stifle their Polluted Delta or Verdant Catacomb. So they put 2 cards on top, they draw a card, and they're going to draw a card next turn. I found another Gurmag Angler. So I'm just going to... I guess I fetch, but I was going to say I'm just going to play out this Delver of Secrets and pass the turn back. Our opponent plays Verdant here. Alright, so I'm actually going to stifle that. Our opponent put 2 cards on top. Okay, they drew 1 last turn and they drew 1 per turn. We're trying to blind flip this Delver here, and we're going to run a Gurmag out next turn. It'd be nice to find a land, but I do want this Delver to flip. So it is kind of subject to whatever we find here. So they played this Ponder, they played the Petal. I'm assuming they take the Stubborn Denial here. Unless they're just going off this turn. I countered their land per turn, so... Alright, so blind flipping this Delver. No, unfortunately. But we do get to play out Death Shadow and Gurmag, so we have pressure on our opponent here. And now we're just going to yield, and we're going to swing in for 1. And we're going to hope not to die next turn. So do your worst, opponent. Alright, Polluted Delta. Brainstorm. I have no possible plays, so I'm going to yield all. And we're going to watch our opponent have a good time while we have a bad time. Alright, so our opponent fetches. It looks like they're probably going off this turn. Or maybe just another Brainstorm. They have enough Lotuses and they have enough ways that they can go off this turn if they want to go off this turn. Between Lotus Petal and Lion's Eye Diamond. Alright, blind flip a Delver, please. No. Alright, we are going to go after their mana. We're going to hit this Underground Sea to eliminate black sources. Alright, we're going to attack with everything. And this is a 2-turn clock, so... And hopefully this is good enough to keep our opponent from killing us, but... it looks like if they want to, they probably can. So they have to go off this turn. And they only have to hit us for 5. So we'll see if they can do it here. Alright, so Ponder from our opponent. They have 4 cards total. All they have to do is go cantrip, cantrip. They don't even have to do that. Cantrip into mana producer, into mana producer, into no cards in hand. Infernal Tutor. So there's 1 mana producer. There's 2. There's 3. Infernal Tutor. Oh, okay, they have Tendrils of Agony. Okay, good game, opponent. So they got this game. We're going to game number 2. We're going to bring in, similar to like we did last match, we're going to bring in Hymns. We're going to bring in, I guess, 1 Marsh Casualties, because we did lose to Empty the Warrens last turn. Flusterstorm's coming in. We're taking out 1 Daze. We're taking out the Dismember. We're taking out the 2 Fatal Pushes here. And I think it's 1 Reanimate. Maybe it's both Reanimates, because there are times, like we saw last match, that we just don't have Reanimate. Whoa, how did Death Shadow get in there? I was taking out a Reanimate. Boop. Alright, so... Alright, I think this is good enough. I think we're going to run this back. Not run this back, run these 60. We're currently 3-1 in the league. Hopefully after this we'll be 4-1, but our control matchup's not fantastic, but we have a lot of discard and removal and ways to kind of disrupt their combo pieces, so we're just trying to rely on that. And this is a great hand for that, so we're going to keep this. Our opponent, I do want to note, also had a lot of basics, not basics, non-basics they were fetching. So our Wasteland, I feel like, is going to be very good here. So we're going to turn 1 Thoughtseize and then Surgical probably, depending on what we hit. I apologize about the mismatching artwork on Thoughtseize. Ooh, I almost did a bad thing. Alright, so end of combat, main phase, fetch. Watery Grave, yes. Thoughtseize. Alright, so we have... What are they doing? What is... Whenever it attacks, defending player can't cast spells this turn. Okay. That's fine because we have the Marsh Casualties in hand. Thoughtseize would take our... We have Lotus Petal, Abrupt Decay, Ponder. Do I want to protect our hand with Thoughtseize and then re-Thoughtseize them next turn? They could just keep this Brainstorm up. We could Brainstorm them and then extract their Brainstorm. Or Ponder them. Or like take their Ponders. I feel like in combo the Ponders are more important than the Brainstorms. Lotus Petal is also pretty important in this match. I'm going to take Ponder, and I'm going to Surgical the Ponders. It might seem a little aggressive, but I think it might be the right move. So let's see what our opponent has in there. So they have, I'm going to write this down, Petal, Brainstorm, Decay, this Exhausted Swarm, Thoughtseize, and Delta. Let's see what's in their deck. 4 Lionized Diamond. What's this? Culprit of Flowers. At the beginning of your main phase, if you hadn't added any mana with this ability, add X, where X is the number of islands target opponent controls. That's an interesting card. I haven't seen that before. Infernal Tutor, Duress. Past in Flames, Tendrils. All right, a good thing to note here is that we're not there's no empty the warrens. Sorry, he threw me off with his question. So I'm going to pass the turn here. Alright, so our opponent played the Lotus, they played the Polluted Delta. Alright, so they're going to play the Swarm. It surprised me they played the Swarm. I'm assuming they're playing the Thoughtseize here, and I'm thinking they're going to take our Thoughtseize. Alright, so they're going to Thoughtseize. I'm assuming they're going to take our Thoughtseize here. And then hopefully we can draw a blue spell for this Force of Will, but we're going to wasteland their land here. Yeah, and that's what we're going to do. So they don't have any other lands. They had a Brainstorm. We took these Ponders, which, like I said, was aggressive, but I think it might have been worth it. And now it just looks like it was worth it. So Lotus or Lion's Eye Diamond from our opponent. I'm gonna start with Street Wraith here. I guess I don't want to take two from our land. I think I'm gonna Thoughtseize our opponent. I'm gonna make sure they can't go off. They're not playing Empty the Warrens is something I absorb. All right, so they have this Brainstorm still. Part of me wants to take it. I don't think I want them to draw a land and be able to Brainstorm to filter their draws. So their hand is just Duress, Abrupt Decay. And they played this Lion's Eye Diamond. I think I'm going to casualties this Swarm, because if I find a blue spell, I don't want him to be going off. So I'm going to just cast this. Again, I don't have an Empty Warrens to be worried about. And I think we'll just pass the turn back. Alright, so we drew another Street Wraith. Hopefully we're able to find something here. Brainstorm's good. Oop, I just won. Brainstorm. Alright, we found another Force of Will, and we found another Brainstorm. So I'm going to put, I think, these on top. And then I'm going to play Wasteland, and then if we need to, we can Brainstorm. I really need to find a threat here. That was our problem last match too, not against this opponent. We just couldn't find anything. Thought I played, all right, there we go, blue. All right, so now we found another Brainstorm. So we're gonna put these on top. I'm trying to avoid taking the life until we need to. Our opponent now with 5 cards in hand. I'd really like a threat. Alright, and there's one. So Stubborn Denial doesn't do anything. I think I'm going to put a Force of Will and a Street Wraith back. And then I'm going to play out this Gurmag. I'm just going to take the lands out of our grave, no particular reason. Street Wraith, and play the Gurmag. I'll pass the turn back to our opponent. So we found a threat finally. And we have the Force of Will, so... If our opponent found an Infernal Tutor, I guess they can't cast it. They have to find a way to cast it and then Lion's Eye Diamond. But alright, we have a Street Wraith, we have a Force of Will on top, and now we're just looking to take our opponent out. So we have this Stubborn Denial, and then if we need to, we can Street Wraith the Force of Will. And then Street Wraith for the Force of Will on top of our library, and then Force of Will something. Alright, so I think this game's ours. And then we have to find a way to win game number 3 here. And hopefully we can win a Mox point here. We're currently 3-1, like I was saying earlier. Wastelanding that land of our opponents just was absolutely fantastic, it looks like. Alright, they actually discarded Duress here. Was that an M11? Yeah. Alright, so we're going to draw for turn. Alright, I guess we can ponder first. There's no particular reason at this point we need to, but I think we want to stifle in case he finds a land. That way when he goes to fetch, we can just stifle. Alright, and if our opponent doesn't find anything, that's our game number 2. They won game number 1, so we're going to move to game number 3 now for all the cards. And I think it's the same... I think it's the same 60 back. Our opponent didn't have the Empty the Warrens game 2, but I'm hesitant to cut this Marsh Casualties in case they have it game 3. I guess Marsh Casualties isn't terrible to have because they had that Swarm guy. What would I want to cut instead of Marsh Casualties? We're on the draw, so maybe another Daze. I could see Daze being bad here when he's just going off with a bunch of spells, you know? So, we're going to try and just disrupt him with Hand Hate, and hopefully that'll be good enough. So we have a him in this hand. I think this hand is good enough and possibly enough pressure to put on our opponent early. Depending on if our opponent thought sees us. Okay, they don't. They just ponder. So we're probably going to lead on a Delver here. And hopefully we can blind flip the Delver. And if we're able to blind flip the Delver and play this him, I think our chances of winning this game might be extremely good. There's another Death Shadow. So yeah, we're just going to fetch here, grab a Watery Grave, and then play out this Delver. Our opponent, what'd they do with the Ponder? They chose not to shuffle their library with Ponder, so they're drawing a couple cards here. We don't have a Wasteland, which them building up their mana is kind of scary for us. Next turn I can play out 2 Shadows, and I'm not too worried about it because our opponent, I guess they have Abrupt Decay, but they don't. Nah, I think next turn I want to play the him. The following turn I can play the 2 Shadows if I want. I think as long as I can cast the him here, our chances of winning goes up significantly. Our opponent could actually go off right now if they find the right cards on this ponder. Alright, so our opponent's fetching here. Tropical Island and... Alright, so they have the Swarm guy. Street Wraith. I don't want to reveal that, but I'll take the card. So, we're going to pay 2 with this Watery Grave. I didn't realize that was a Watery Grave, but... So we hit Dark Ritual, so... It might be good enough here where our opponent can't produce enough mana. But with how consistent our opponent's deck is, I just don't see us getting past it. It'd be really nice to find another one of those Hymn to Torox in our deck. It'd also be nice to blind flip this Delver, but... So our opponent can do anything they want now. We cannot cast spells the rest of the turn. So we're yielding to our opponent. Our opponent only has 4 cards in hand, so they have to figure out if they can go off here. But it looks like they're going to try. Hopefully they didn't mess up and think they had Threshold. Alright, so Duress from our opponent's going to take our Ponder. So 1, 2... Alright, so our opponent didn't go off. I'm surprised with the way they sequenced things. We found an Underground Sea. So it's not quite what we're looking for here. So we're going to pay. We found another Ponder. Part of me wants to Ponder first to see what we find. Stubborn Denial is really good here. Thoughtseize is also good. So maybe I run out one of these shadows and Thoughtseize our opponent and leave Stubborn Denial on top. I think that's good enough to do. Untap that. So Tendrils of Agony ad nauseam. So it looks like our opponent did think they had Threshold last turn. Because I think their plan was the Tendril of Agony. But that didn't work the way our opponent wanted it to. And we have Stubborn Denial on top of our library to flip this Delver. And we have the Death Shadow as well. That being said, if they find Cabal on top of their library, they can go to town on us. Because Cabal produces 5 mana. Yeah, so they have a Brainstorm here. It looks like they're just using this Swarm just to make sure their things can't be countered. I mean, it's smart magic by them. I have no issues with that at all. Alright, Preordain. So we'll see if they put anything on the bottom. I can't really see them put 2 cards on... So they put the Tendrils on bottom. Not the Tendrils of Agony, the ad nauseam. And they concede, so good game, opponent. We went 4-1 today, and we got we got 2 legacy points, and we got a nice qualifier point. So good game, guys. Thanks for watching. Thank you so much for watching. Please go hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed today's video. If you'd like to dive further into the Crocodile MTG community, consider heading over to Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you can become a sponsor of the content we produce here, and you'll get your name added to the description below. That's patreon.com/crocodilemtg.